Okay, the first secret is toasting the rice. I've got a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in the pan. I'm using a cup and a half of dried rice, by the way. And before I put the rice into the pan, I'm going to put just a little bit of finely minced onion and some finely minced garlic. One of the reasons I'm going to do this is because this helps me see that my heat is too high, because it's really heating up. So I'm going to cut it down a little bit. Once the onion's semi-transparent, I can go ahead and put my rice in. And the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and get all of the rice coated with oil. This is partially for the toasting, but also for flavor. We'll let it sit for a bit. After just a minute, I'm going to stir through it again, lay it back out, stir through it, and just keep doing that until 70 to 80% of the rice is toasted. Not burnt, not fried, just lightly toasted. You can see in the bowl for my rice cooker I've already got some water. Now I'm adding the next secret ingredient, which is a 1/4 cup of tomato sauce. Let me show you this thing here. This you find in the actual international aisle in the Mexican groceries, and this little thing of tomato sauce is enough for 2 cups of rice. I've already done it once, so I know what my measurement is. I'm going to be just a touch light on the tomato sauce for this particular day, but it's okay. I've found that this recipe is very forgiving as long as you have enough tomato sauce to give the color. Now let's get the rice in there. This is why I use a spatula, because it just makes it a lot easier to get all the rice out of the pan. And there we go. Now I'm going to transfer this to the rice cooker itself. I'm going to check my water and make sure I've got enough. And then the next secret, I'm going to let it sit in that water for 20 to 30 minutes. I'm not even going to put heat on it. I'm just going to let it sit there. This prepares the rice for steaming. And I've found that, again, it's a really great idea. Okay, so the rice has been sitting now for about 25 minutes, and I'm ready to go ahead and cover it up and let it start cooking. Every so often as the rice cooks, I'm going to take my spatula and I'm just going to stir through it a bit. Put the thing right back on. Now I know that most rice recipes are going to tell you to cover it and leave it, and I don't really like doing that because it can lead to scorching, and it can lead to rice that's very stuck together and hard to deal with. So even though it means that it's going to take a little bit longer for the rice to cook, I'm okay with that. I'd rather have perfect rice than fast rice, especially with a dinner like today. Okay, now that most of the water's gone, I've unplugged it. I've spatulaed through it to turn everything off the bottom. I put a couple of pinches of sea salt in there. I did not salt while I cooked because I want the salt on the outside. But you can see most of the water's gone. And now every 5 minutes or so I'll come back and I'll fluff through it with a fork. And fluff through it with a fork. It's a very important step. Don't skip it. If you want the best rice, you're going to need to do that several times. Don't leave it out. Okay, now that the chili's ready to serve, I can go ahead and serve out the rice. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fork through it one more time. I want it nice and fluffy when it goes on the plate. Now, if you're serving with refried beans, you generally do about a quarter of the plate with rice and a quarter of the plate with beans. Since I'm serving just the chili tonight, I'm going to put extra rice. That and the tortillas, of course. Okay. Just a little sprinkle of cheese for color. And I'm ready to plate the chili. Let's go. So there you go. Restaurant style Mexican rice. It's simple to make. It takes a little bit of time, but it really is worth it. It tastes so much better than just putting plain white rice on the plate. Remember what I told you, if you're doing plain rice, still go ahead and toast your rice like that and fluff through it several times as it takes in that final moisture and really gets nice and tender, okay? So I'm laying on base. Y'all keep thumping.